Good evening, my people. What is going on? It is your main man, Charles Tank Harris, the founder and chief visionary officer of the financial literacy platform Wealth Our Way, where our motto is wealth is not only for the wealthy. I welcome each and every one of you to episode 20 of the Financial Power Hour. We have an amazing show planned for you with a guest that is beyond just anything that I ever thought we would have in the studio audience at this stage in the program. So I want you to sit back. I want you to relax. I also want you to know that due to the fact that this guest has just the most hectic, crazy schedule, we'll get into some of the amazing things that he's into. We had to pre-record this program. So you're seeing it broadcast to you live, but we've pre-recorded it, and I will be in the studio audience all night answering your questions in the chat.
I grew up in West Philly, and times was tough. Single mom, 4 kids, there was never enough. What's a youngin' to do? Join a gang or a crew, or go to school, hit the books, and find a mentor or two? God was on my side, Mom's was not with the games, so I studied extra hard, created a lane, read books by Warren Buffett and Benjamin Graham, spent time on Wall Street, and now I'm the man. But there's still much to do, and plenty to say, so I present the Power Hour, by Wealth Our Way. Enjoy the show.
Welcome back. You know, we tightening up around here. So once we do the final edit on the rap mix down, y'all not going to be ready for it. Like I said, today's guest, what can you say about someone who has not only just revolutionized how real estate investing is done by people of color, but has also found avenues to get into the business that truthfully would blow our minds and not even be in our wheelhouse of what we would normally think to do. So tonight, I want to talk to you about Mr. Jude Bernard and the Brooklyn Bank. When I came across this brother, first of all, a member of the team told me about him. I'll be honest, I didn't know much about him. I started doing my due diligence and my research because I always want to make sure I'm bringing you the real authentic cats, because we know out here in cyber world, there's a lot of cats, you know, like Rick Ross said, people who never did it trying to tell you how to do it. I made sure that this dude was from head to toe that real work. And when I tell you, I fanboyed a little bit. Like, not only is it that real work, he that work. So with no further ado, Mr. Jude Bernard, how are you?
What up, Tank?
Yo, I appreciate you making the time out of your hectic, busy schedule. I know you was doing big things last week, which we will get into this past weekend. But first, so on some true fanboy stuff, I know that you are Haitian American, which I have a lot of friends and clients who are. And I wanted to bring a line to you, see if I got it right so we can kick the show off. So let me see if I got this right. Nous gaya aux amis un commir. Did I get that right at all? Nous gaya
aux amis
un commir.
I don't know what that is. I know we got
a friend in common.
Exactly.
I butchered it, I'm sure. So, you know, I'm trying to learn this. So I was talking to one of my dudes. He saw the promo for the show. And my man that I went to Temple with, Sigma, Tui Ellis.
Oh,
yo, Tui said, make sure you tell Jude to holler at me.
Tui, that's my dude right there. Yo, true story. The very first time I ever been in a Lexus, right?
Right.
The very first time. God bless the dead. Tui's the cousin or family member of Heavy D.
Heavy D.
And Tui was, you know, whipping around one of his whips. I was just like, I never even heard. What the hell's a Lexus? You know,
Yo, we were backstage in the green room talking, and Jude put me up on game. He for all my Temple folks that are here at the show tonight, know that back in the day, Temple was a collection of course, us native Philly people, a great contingent from down the DMV, but New York was in the building. And Tui and all these other cats came through with the Tribe Called 40, and Yo, Jude just schooled me that he is a living member of Tribe Called 40. That's what's up.
Honorary.
I don't remember the 40.
St. John's, but I'm, you know what I'm saying? I've been to enough parties. Yeah, I can't remember those spots, but
Houston Hall at Penn.
Yeah,
there was a couple of other spots where they used to have the parties at, man. These cats, they were Tribe people on Temple's campus. They Tribe Called 40 represented to the fullest. So when you threw that name out there, besides for all of the stuff that I already knew about you,
I'm legit.
Legit now. You legit. Say, brother, one of the things that I normally have our guests do when they come on the show is run their resume down, tell me who they are and things like that. I have seen the number of broadcasts that you've done. You've been on everything, Earn Your Leisure, to just every podcast that I've seen. And I don't want to be repetitive. I don't want to just give you the same, hey, man, tell me what you did and what you do. So I kind of wanted to just have our format be where I got a chance for you to tell the people what you just did most recently with the Brooklyn Bank and the Black Money Forum, and then get into how you got to where you are today on your own pace from that story.
Cool. So first and foremost, let me thank you for having me on. It's an honor and a pleasure, and I greatly appreciate that you giving me consideration. So everybody, my name is Jude Bernard. I am a real estate investor. I'm a general contractor, a real estate broker, real estate consultant, landlord, developer, you name it. For the last 20 plus years, I've been in it. I've been doing it, but for the last 5 years, what I'm really most proud of is to call myself the founder, CEO, and executive director of the Brooklyn Bank, a nonprofit organization focused on, closing the wealth gap and providing financial education and pretty much making sure people of color are hip to the financial game. So that's basically what I've been doing. This past weekend, I don't even know where to start. We tore it down at the King's Theater. 3,000 seater. It was just packed. It was a good vibe. We had everybody up in the building, from Ernie Leisure, the Budgetnista, Tanya Rapley, MG the Mortgage Guy, Caesar Pina, Aristotle Investments, Tall Guy Tycoon, his one from Philly, Haitian CEO.
Yep. Ash Cash.
I could keep going and going, you know what I'm saying? But here's the deal. We had all these cats come through, and we basically gave out $100 million worth of game, easily. And it wasn't just, get people a hype mumbo jumbo or get them in the room and try to sell them something. Nah, there was none of that going on. It was all like true gems, like the type of lineup we had and the type of show that we put on typically will cost people thousands of dollars to be in the building. But we, on the strength of Juneteenth, we did it all on the strength of love. Freebie, everybody came through.
It was free 99.
$3.99. See, and it was so important that we did that on Juneteenth, because just like the slaves did not know they were free, we are allegedly financially free, but we don't have the information that we need to truly benefit from that financial freedom that is supposedly accessible to us, because the Brooklyn Bank, right? We're not a bank in a traditional sense where we transact through dollars and cents. Our currency is information. So the more information that we could provide, the better, the stronger the organization is. And I can't think of how we could have done it better. Instead of bringing thousands of people into the room and just hitting them off with game, free game.
You gave information that'll translate into dollars. There is no telling. It's like that whole throw a stone into a pond situation. There is no telling what the information that you organized to flow freely to the audience will eventually do for our community. There's no way to quantify it.
Of course.
One of the things I wanted to say about that particular event, because I followed it closely, is what really resonated with me because you'll talk amongst our people and you'll talk amongst mainstream people, and they will say,
excuse me,
bless you, brother. They will say, we can't get along. We can't do stuff together. And the names you just said about who was on the stage, nobody hogging for headline, nobody saying, oh, I do what they do, or this and this. Everybody just out there with the spirit of giving in their heart and knowing. This is what I tell people all the time. There's a lot of people who talk financial literacy. That's cool. Nobody talks it like Big Tank, like nobody talks it like Jude Bernard, like nobody talks it like Ash Cash, nobody talks it like the Budgetnista. When you're confident in your lane and what you have to offer, you go out there and do your thing. And that you were able to spearhead such a large collection of cats and not have any of the backbiting drama, I just got to salute you on that.
Yo, the funny thing is, like, once everybody is in line with the mission was, let's do the right thing. Also, do the right thing, Mookie. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was the focus. It wasn't about headline grabbing. It wasn't about, me, no egos and stuff like that. It was just like, how do we get this information to people and make it, put it into bite size and digestible bites. So that's what we aim to do. That's what we did.
Grown people, as we are, you see the gray over here. Grown people are seldom anything more than a collection of what they grew up on. And we get to this age. One of my favorite books is The Four Agreements with Don Miguel Ruiz, where he says you take this look at your life and you realize, hey, nothing about me is mine. It was educated to me by someone else. I mimicked a family member. I did this like my friends. Tell me a little bit, tell the audience a little bit about how you transitioned from who you were in your upbringing, like where you started, where you were born, to what made you one day say, I'm about to get into this real estate.
Well, I'm from Flatbush, Brooklyn. You know what I'm saying? Real Flatbush, pre-Starbucks.
Brooklyn, stand up.
Exactly. Pre-Starbucks, crack vials, you know what the 90s like.
Yep.
So growing up, I did not see what was possible. Unfortunately, as my t-shirt show you, I can show you. You know what I'm saying? These
okay.
It was 1, 2, or they left one out, which was a dope boy.
Either you slinging crack rock or you got a wicked jump shot.
Exactly. So with that being said, I got into all kinds of trouble growing up. I was misguided, either I was misguided or the lack of guidance. I just found myself, just doing dumb stuff all the time. And like, I was lucky that I ran into a brother when I was at school who hipped me to the real estate game. Right? He hipped me to the real estate game, where he showed me that, hey, I could put $12,000 down on a property. Now I own this property that is worth $150,000. I bought the property for like 110, but it was worth 150. I could pull cash out. I could buy another property, and that property is going to continue to go up, and I'm going to get paid every month, and then I'm going to get tax credits from it. And it just blew my mind, right? And I'm saying to myself, like, anybody could do this, right? So I didn't need a hot 16 bars. I didn't need a crossover and a fadeaway jumper.
No doubt.
You know what I'm saying? I could get, there was a way to achieve, some financial freedom with just being regular. Cause like this real estate game, Andrew Jackson was playing this real estate game. Benjamin Franklin was playing this real estate game. Like, this real estate game goes back to the King Arthur days. You know what I'm saying?
Doubt.
Like the whole being land barons and all that other stuff. That's old school game. That's still relative to this day. So once I realized that there was a way to build wealth, I lost interest in running the streets.
No doubt.
Because think about it. I can make my money and I don't have to look over my shoulder.
That's the best kind of money.
I could make my money, and I don't have to worry about doing a bid. And like one of the things cats don't know, like whether you scamming, whether you're doing credit card scams, you selling pills or whatever you're doing, right? Like you have to be of the mindset that you are going to outsmart the police 365 days
every time. Every time you got to win.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what did that when Golden State went on that run a few years ago, what did they win? Like 72 times?
73, because the Bulls were 72-10,
Yeah.
and they went and did them one better, 73-9.
They went 7-3-9. So 9 times. And I remember who they lost to that year. They lost to the Knicks, bum team. They lost to Philly, bum team at the time. They lost to the Nets, bum team. Right? So basically 3 bum teams got lucky and caught them slipping.
Yep.
And you think the feds, the NYPD, you know what I'm saying, and all these other cats ain't gonna catch you slipping? Nah, homie, make your money the right way. You know what I'm saying? It's easy.
You said something, man. You said something about having this property. It had equity in it. You were able to access the equity. You used the term of getting the equity out. And I have 6 kids, so I'm not familiar with the term pull out. You said pull out the equity in the crib. So when people sit here and think about how you can access the money that's in the assets you already have, who put you up onto that type of game?
Unfortunately, I learned it on my own, and which took time. You know what I'm saying? Because like when you figure stuff on your own and you are like hearing this here and there, and you're getting bits and pieces from random people, like this is, there were no Google videos, there was no YouTube, there were no influencers back when I was coming up. So basically everything you learned, you just had to learn it the hard way through trial and error, right? And that is one of the main reasons why the Brooklyn Bank exists, to make sure that the information is being disseminated to the people who need it, right? And it's super important that people are aware that, hey, maybe I don't have to sell my asset. Maybe I could, I could pull a home equity line of credit or something to pull the cash out, and then I don't get taxed on it, but yet I still have access to the funds to reinvest into different assets or to subsidize my life. Like all of this is a learning process, and all of this is, the information out there. And here's another point I want to talk about. I want to talk about execution, right? Like, it's not only getting the information, but it's getting the information and then executing on it, right? Okay. Like so many times, like there's so many bestsellers out there, they Rich Dad Poor Dad, has sold like 300 million copies, but there are not 300 million.
Like there aren't even 3 million successful people off of reading that book. So it's one thing to have the information; it's a whole other thing to be able to take action.
Exactly, bro. So it's super important that I tell people, look, don't have me talking for no reason. Don't waste my time. Like this ain't entertainment.
Yep. Here's something I wanted to say. You just brought up a very, very valid point. When I was looking through your history of your endeavors, when I was looking through the different shows you've been on and what you talked about, one of the things that resonated for me, that made me say you're a real G, is everybody will list their highlight reel. That's social media for you. Like, list your highlight reel. Mm-hmm. I love that you got gritty with the things that you've done that you've considered personal missteps. I watched you on a Cats show where you talked about you went in to make like 60,000 and lost 200,000. And
in the Bronx.
Yeah, tell the people that story real quick if you don't mind.
So basically, what I did was I lent somebody a hard money loan. I lent them I think like $300,000, and it was like hard money, 20%. I was supposed to make 60. I was supposed to make 60,000 back. The market flipped. The housing crisis happened. Everybody was looking at predatory lending, this, that, the other. It took me 4 years of litigation It took me 4 years of litigation to resolve this issue, and at the end of the day, I lost over 250,000. One, because I did not know what I was doing. Like, I had never really done hard money lending before. I didn't vet the guy. I didn't have my paperwork down packed and all that other stuff. So I got caught slipping. You know, I didn't do my homework, and I got caught up. So
I would have to imagine that that's a lesson, that because of the amount of money and the grief and the time that it costs you, you so skilled at it now that would never even cross your radar to make that mistake again.
Not even a little bit. Not even a little bit. You know, the funny thing is, like, I've learned so many mistakes. I mean, I learned so many lessons from that. You know, I don't do hard money anymore unless it's collateralized by an entity. You know, I research everything. I always make sure that I'm in a position where I can't lose. You know, so it's just I educated myself. And one of the big things that I tell people in this game, right? Because it's funny enough, because at that time, $250,000 loss at that time was like, oh my God, I'm ready to kill myself. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. But it trains you. Taking the L's like that trains you. Like, in the last month, I've watched my crypto and stock portfolio drop 7 figures. You know, and I'm unfazed by it. You know, because it's just a part of the game. You know, I understand it's just paper. It's just
right.
It's just numbers on the screen.
Numbers on the screen.
Because at the end of the day, whether the decimal point, you know, wherever the decimal point may be, and wherever the comma may be, I'm still capable of having whatever I want for dinner. I'm still capable of paying my mortgage and making sure that I could do anything that I want to do. So another thing I would like to tell people is, like, don't get so caught up on those commas and decimal points, especially when they don't mean anything.
Right.
Yeah, you know, because, like, you could, like, I used to take this back in the day. I used to go on this emotional roller coaster. Like, the market was up. Hey, how's everybody? What's going on? Hey, what's going on? It's good to see you. And then the market down. Oh, woe's me. Right? But it was the commas and the decimal points that moved that day. But nothing. It didn't affect anything.
One of my homies texted me the other day, because I'm everybody's, like, financial go-to dude. He texted me and said, man, this market won't stop going down. I looked at my retirement account. It is down 6 figures. How am I supposed to be cool with that? I said, let me ask you a question. I already knew the answer, of course. I said, let me ask you a question. When are you retiring? He said, like 20, 22 years. I said, that's how you're cool with it. I said, you don't need that money tomorrow. I said, in 22 years, you won't remember today. You won't. And the thing about this is, we talk about on Wealth Our Way all the time. Everything that we do starts with a budget. A budget is the Bible with what we do in our financial planning program. And the number one thing I tell people, investments is a line item on your budget. Never put more money into your investments than what the budgeted category says it was for. And just like you would have a line item for eating out or for vacation, you don't fret when that number goes to zero. Because when you spend all your vacation money, you went on vacation. It was cool. So if you put all your money in your investments, as you said, it's not changing what's for dinner. It's not changing, can you pay for your kid to go to the movies this weekend? Because it was earmarked for a certain category that you'll reap the benefits from 15, 20, 30 years from now.
Exactly. Like, I always tell people, like, are you cool with paying $100 for a cup of coffee? And then it's like, what are you talking about? Who would pay $100 for a cup of coffee? I'm just like, yo, every time you go to Starbucks and you put that $6 into the coffee, and instead of putting that $6 in the market 10, 15, 20 years from now, that $6 is really $100.
Exactly.
So you factor that every day. You know what I'm saying? like a month of Starbucks is thousands of dollars.
No doubt. You just said something. I was literally having this conversation with a group of people over the weekend. I said, when you really start making money, and when you really, so not even in investments, I'll slide over to investments in a minute. When your work starts making you a bunch of money, and then you realize that you can grow the money that you've made through investing, you will stop wanting to spend money. Making money off your investments is the best way to learn how to save future. Right now, I moved to Georgia back at the top of the year so that I could share custody with my ex-wife of our son. And I rented a place. Real estate was going through the roof. I said, I'll buy in a minute when things slow down. Real estate market stopped, interest rates hit up. But as I'm sitting there thinking, I said, you know what? Why am I even trying to buy a house? I got a 3-bedroom condo I'm renting here. My real estate that I own earns me money. Why would I want to go out and buy another 6? I used to have an 8,000 square foot house down here when I was married and lived in Georgia. And it was beautiful, not gonna lie. But I was in my 30s then. That was when you entertained. That was when you wanted to show off. I'm 52 now. All I care about is wealth. I'm not going to have an 8,000 square foot house unless I section off the bottom to Airbnb it out. Like everything that I do, I want to make money off of. I don't want to go to Ashley's Home Furniture and spend 70 grand furnishing my house, because no matter how nice my sofa is, I'm going to be thinking, man, that could be a Bitcoin. That could be a new building. I could be talking to Jude and we could about to go down to Brooklyn and buy a parking garage or something.
Yeah.
You got to look at everything as the ability to continue to grow. I want to kind of segue back into the Brooklyn Bank for a minute. What gave you the motivation and inspiration to not just come up with the Brooklyn Bank? I think you touched on the fact that our people weren't getting information and you wanted to get it to them. But I saw your team on Instagram. I see the blood, sweat, equity that you've put into it. What was your overall ideology behind the venture when you started it? What made you go into the nonprofit route? Like what really made you say this is the move moving forward?
Check it. I'm gonna tell you a little story real quick. So I used to have an assistant, and for years, she was rocking with me, like venture after venture. And there came a day where I was in a jam and I needed like 100 grand. And I went to her and I said, hey, can you make some phone calls? We need to get this 100 grand by the end of the day, or else we're gonna lose out on XYZ opportunity. So she asked me a couple more questions, and I was just like, yo, stop asking me questions about XYZ. Just get somebody on the phone who can get the money. She's like, no, I could give it to you. I'm like, what do you mean you could give it to me? She's like, yeah, I could give it to you. And I was like, all right, bet, cool. So she does the wire, sends it over. And I'm just like, yo, where the hell did you get $100,000? She was just like, yo, all the game and everything that you've been giving me for these last few years, I'd be a fool if I wasn't listening to you and doing the things that you told me to do. And now I have a sizable nest egg, right? So in reality, my investment to her really came back to help me, right? Like there's nothing worse than being the only one in the room.
Yep.
There's nothing worse than being the only guy in first class, and then everybody's making that, what I'm saying, that what do you call it? That subtle racist convo. Like, so what is it that you do? Basically, the nice way of saying, what the hell are you doing?
What the hell are you doing here?
Up here, boy. So the more we normalize these wealth conversations, the more we give people this information that I acquired, some on my own, but some that people invested and poured into me, the more that information is disseminated, the more people will expand their wealth, and the more these newly wealthy people will come back and help me in my endeavors, and help my friends, help my family, and circulate the dollars into my community. and get it popping. You know what I'm saying? Because if I'm the only one driving and all my boys is walking, I can't fit them all in the car.
No doubt.
We gotta get to the point where we all driving.
Let me ask you this. First of all, I want to tell our audience that you got to share this content. Like, you got to share the show. You got to just, it's on YouTube, it's on Facebook. Definitely get it out there into your social networks, because everyone needs to hear what Brother Jude is saying. But I'm going to do something that I've never done before. I hinted to it at the beginning. I am so engaged with what you're doing at the Brooklyn Bank. I'm so engaged with what you're doing as a Black man that Wealth Our Way is going to pledge to give up to $100 a month for the next year to the Brooklyn Bank, based on every 10 people who watch this video on YouTube. So I know for a fact I've had, this is a new fledgling show, but I get, 100, 300, 400 views. I pledge that Wealth Our Way will give up to $100. So it's like $10 a view. That's aside from the stuff that you and I will talk off camera on how I can support and help the Brooklyn Bank. But I'm going to put my money where my mouth is, because I respect your time. I know you're getting interview requests and all this other stuff. To get your time, like you said, the young lady who used to work with you or maybe still works with you, to be able to help her make a sizable nest egg because she listened to you, my audience is getting that now. So I'm going to pay it forward and make that pledge that we're, for the next year, we're $100 a month based on the people who share this content, view this content, make a comment that you're from Jude's network and you heard about the show. I got you, brother.
That's dope. That's dope. This all comes from relationships, right? I know Zach, because Zach used to work at the Nets, and I had season tickets, and I had decent seats. I wasn't on the floor, not like that, but Zach always made me feel like the king of Zamundo. Always respect, showed me around, talked to me, took my calls, stuff like that. And you remember that. You remember how people make you feel. So with that being said, Zach went from just being, my client, my Nets client manager, to somebody that I know, somebody I speak to, somebody I could call as a friend. And if he calls me and says, "Hey, Jude, I have an opportunity, for you to come on this show," and I know Zach, he's not going to waste my time, and I know like it's something worth, it's definitely going to be something worth it. So of course I'm going to come out and support and stuff like that. So this whole thing is based on relationships. At the end of the day, I've never seen on anybody's tombstone, this person had X amount of dollars.
Yep.
This person had 50 pairs of Jordans on their tombstone. This person, lit the club up like 4 nights in a row, $20,000 nights in a row in the club, bottles on bottles. It don't say that. What does it say? Beloved father, dear friend. You know what I'm saying? So it all touches on the relationships. And even with this business, I tell people all the time, relationships are your biggest, are the biggest asset.
Your network is your net worth.
Yeah, because I don't need money. I don't need money if my friends have money. I don't need access to deals if my friends have access to deals. I don't need access to, I don't need know-how if my friends know how to do it. You know what I'm saying? So
word is bond.
Exactly. So the more you build on these relationships and make sure that they're all equal, and nobody's taking advantage of other people and stuff like that. But the more you build your relationships, the further along you get. I did this Black Money Forum. Last week, and I ended up being in the red for about $30,000, $36,000.
Okay.
Because my goal was to get corporate sponsors to pay for the whole thing.
Yep.
Right. At the end of the day, it still fell short about $36,000. The reason why I got the money that I got was not because of my proposals, not because of a letter or email or a LinkedIn phone call that I made. Every dollar that came in came from a personal relationship. So if I didn't have those personal relationships, instead of being down $36,000, I would have been down close to $90,000.
No doubt.
You know, because the show was going to go on anyway. So we were going to do it anyway. But it's relationships because again, we're a new organization and nobody was writing us a check.
Right.
The only people who wrote us a check was people who knew, oh, Jude is legit. He ain't going to run off with the money.
Exactly. I got to tell you a story that's going on right now with me that literally echoes what you're saying. I was riding up from Georgia to Jersey, last visit up, because I still go up to Jersey. I got a crib up there. Shout out to my wife who deals with me being down here in Georgia with my son. Mm-hmm. But on my ride up there, I got a call from a business colleague that I used to, when I sold insurance, I used to do worksite insurance. Think Aflac, but other companies. I used to broker worksite insurance. My man called me because he knows now I only do tax mitigation high-end insurance for people. My clients that need insurance, I refer them out. I don't even sell insurance to anyone who's not writing like $100,000 a month, $100,000 a year premiums are up. So with that being said, guy called me because a young lady that he's training got a call from a friend in her network. So just peep how the network is going. Dude that I know and used to work with is training someone who got a call from her network. This attorney called this woman and said, hey, I need a quote for a $200 million life insurance policy. She's like, that's not what I do. And she told my man. My man said, I know just the dude to call because my boy Big Tank, he used to write insurance for headliners of tours where the agency would give the tour guy $70, $200, $300 million of advance money to go on tour. And the company wanted to make sure they were insured in case this person died or got injured. So they know I have the expertise to get these types of policies written. Calls me. I call the attorney who's in question and then call this broker out of New York that I know could handle it. All of this is now in the process of getting done. And I haven't met the young lady. I haven't met the attorney, but the people in my network who got the business toward me and were able to facilitate it all come from people who are inside this phone. And it goes right to the heart of what you're talking about. You can spend, I want to say it was Warren Buffett who was quoted and credited with saying, it takes 30 years to build a reputation and 30 minutes to tear it down. Like your ability to get checks written, your ability to get people in the audience, your ability to fill a stage with other headliners comes exactly from the reputation that Jude Bernard already has.
Thank you, brother. I greatly appreciate that.
I want to ask you one question that I think often confuses people, getting back to your real estate history. I think it confuses people when you hear people talk about what they can deduct and what they can't deduct. There is a difference between someone who's just doing some real estate and someone who is a real estate professional and the ability for them to take certain deductions and basically claim that they live off of doing real estate. Do you find that there's a lot of people who think they know what they're doing and don't, and are trying to like basically act as though they're a real estate professional, wear the many hats that you wear, when in reality they're dabbling in it and kind of getting themselves in an area that could cause more harm than good?
Yeah, like for you to have full carte blanche in regards to your deductions, I don't know how many hours it is, but I think it might be something like 1,000 hours, or close to that. Don't quote me. You're supposed to have 1,000 hours or something like that at doing actual real estate work, and that way you have actual carte blanche. You could write everything off towards your real estate business. Now, if you don't have that, you are pretty much a either a homeowner or something to that effect, where you could take the basic deductions, like the interest and depreciation and stuff like that. But you can't take your shoes off saying, oh, these are the shoes that I wear to go from site to site.
Right. And that passive, You can write when you're not a real estate professional like you are, it's my understanding that all of your passive losses from deductions and things of that nature can only be written off against to the level of income that you make.
Exactly. So as a real estate professional, you can carry over some of those losses, take them, you could take them from your Schedule E and maybe even push them into your Schedule C, because
I love the transparency. I saw something on your Instagram page that really, it just said, yo, this dude is the man. You were telling the story on how you went from like the high 500s up to 50 points away from a perfect credit score. Mm-hmm. And you showed that this is on something my audience needed to hear. You had like $8 million of outstanding current debt, which I'm assuming is all to properties and things of that nature. When people are so afraid of going into debt, and once again, one of my homies, Kamari Ellis, shout out to the Finance Rebel, he always talks about personal finance is personal. I can't have $8 million of debt. I'm balling, but my ball is like a tennis ball. Your ball is obviously like a basketball. So the reality is that you can have $8 million of debt because you have the assets or whatever. That's a small portion of what versus your assets. I see people out here just telling people to go into debt, there's so many people hawking, go get business debt. I'm like, dude, your business don't make no money. Like, what are you trying to do? So if you could just talk for a minute to the whole thing of how you've been able to scale yourself out of the high 500s up to damn near 850. And then the other part of that is how you purpose the debt that you use, why it's a good thing.
So I'm going to tell everybody, the secret to having excellent credit. It's, it's kind of complicated, but I'm going to try to put it as, it's so complicated, I'm just going to have to spit it out. First thing, don't buy things you don't need. Second things, make sure the credit that you use is making money. And third thing, pay them people they
pay
money.
Them folks.
you took that money. Pay them folks their money. You owe it. Yeah.
Pay them folks. I see so many people try to tell people how they could get away from paying something that they use. Pay them folks. Like that. Yeah. That's the only time somebody can use some more money is when you pay back the old money.
Exactly. Like I've been in this game 20 some odd years, and like not only is my credit good, but my street credit good is my name is good. Like I recently acquired a building. And I think I needed to close on Thursday. I needed to close on a Tuesday. And I sent out a text message on that Thursday to a group of my friends. And I needed like $600,000. By Sunday, I was telling, people was hitting me up saying, yo, I got 50 on it, I got 100 on it. And by Sunday, I was telling people, oh, I'm sorry, you missed out. I'm good. I'm good on that one. Right now, I could not do that if I ever did somebody dirty.
Yep.
And Tank, you say you follow me on Instagram. I talk a lot of smack on Instagram. Right? Can you imagine if there was a person out there that I
come back and pull your coat?
Yeah. Like. You can't say that Jude did you dirty. You can't say that Jude didn't pay you. You can't, you know what I'm saying? You could say, like me, Jude and I don't get along all the time. You could say, Jude, you know what I'm saying? Jude ate the last piece of chicken. And, Jude ain't take his shoes off when he came to the crib. But you're not going to say that Jude was dishonorable in business practices. You're not going to say Jude lied to me.
Right.
You're not going to say Jude misled me. You're not going to say Jude did not pay. Jude did not act in a fair manner, because those are the things that make my business.
I love that. I want to say this. When we started Wealth Our Way, I really didn't think about the acronym being WOW. It just came to my attention as we were trying to do branding and logo work. But I tell my staff all the time, everybody who deals with us has to be left with a wow experience, whether it's a client, whether it's a vendor, whether it's a strategic partner. I want it to be more than they expected. If I don't make people think and say, wow, then I didn't do my job. And one of the things that you're talking about, dealing with people in business and making sure nobody can say anything dirty about you. There was a point in time where I wrote an ebook. The ebook is called 5 Major Money Moves and 3 Money Must Do's. And it was, people had put these pre-orders in for like $17. My network, maybe it was like 20, 30 people. And the ebook was 2 days late. I refunded everybody's money, gave them the book. My people were mad. They wanted to give me the money anyway. They said, Tank, the book is worth hundreds of dollars. But I gave them back their money because I wanted them to tell people how stubborn and unreasonable I was when it came to doing the right thing, because you only get one shot at doing the right thing.
Yeah. This past Saturday, like, I broke the cardinal rule of event spaces.
I saw that. Please tell the people about that.
I'm sitting in my house and I get a call from my event manager talking about 2 people are here to set up for tonight's parties. I was like, what do you mean 2 people are here to set up? Yeah, we're doing an LGBT. I'm sorry. We're doing a gay prom, and somebody else just came in here for a graduation party. And I was just like, oh, all right. So eventually, immediately I go into crisis mode where I go and I find them a new venue. I find one of the people a new venue, and I refund them their full payment. It was like whatever it was. I paid them the whole thing back, and then I paid for the new venue. Exactly, out of my pocket. So super important that's how you move.
No doubt. You can't make a better investment than what you just did. Like, that person will tell everybody about how Jude treated them. And, people think so often, I get it in my network all the time, and I have to just try to tell people, they don't believe me. Like, I'm not to sound braggadocious. Actually, I don't consider what I'm about to say bragging. I consider it one of the biggest critiques I have of myself. In my circle, my Temple people, my West Philly people, I'm probably one of the most financially successful of my crew. And I say that's the biggest critique of myself, because I want to do that Marx frame of mind where I want to be the poorest, least traveled, uneducated person in the room that I'm in, so I can learn from that room. I often don't find myself in that room. I find myself where, yo, Big Tank, let me hold a couple dollars. That's the room I'm normally in.
Big bro.
Big bro. Let me get that, So,
yeah. I don't want to be big bro all the time.
I know. It's expensive to be big bro all the time. Oh, gee, yo, let me get that. Nah, I'm good over there. But, the thing about it is, when you are financially successful, people look at you and you tell them how you're moving, and they don't believe you. Or they say the key line, which I'm sure you heard 100 times, well, that's easy for you to do. You got money. Like, you know how I got this money? By doing exactly what I'm telling you should do. Go ahead, bro.
It's so funny because everybody assumes that you get this mindset shift after you get money. And I tell people, no, my mind shifted and my wallet followed, not the other way around. Because it was delayed gratification, then came wealth. It was effort, then came wealth. It was persistence, then came wealth.
I tell people, if you're not generous with $30, you're not going to be generous with $3 million. If you're waiting to be successful, to do something successful, it's never going to come. That's not how it works. What you just said is the order of operations. Yeah. I want to close out with something that I try to ask my guests. I'm growing in this whole interviewing role. I'm a financial planner by trade, but this is something I felt as though my audience always hearing my ideologies wasn't going to help them. They needed to hear from other people bigger and better than me like yourself. And once again, I'm truly humbled and appreciative that you showed up tonight to come rock with my audience.
All love.
Who is one person that, alive or dead, that if you had an opportunity to meet, you would want to spend the entire day with them and pick their brain?
You know, funny enough, wisdom comes in so many different shapes and forms, you know, and like I have one of my closest friends who is he works sanitation, and I will call him and I'll ask him for business advice on, but but he may not be able to tell me about reading spreadsheets and percentages and stuff like that, but he tells me about the human aspect of the deal. You know, I remember one time one time this guy did me dirty for about $5,000, and I had the opportunity to turn around and do him dirty for like $75,000 because I was upset and I was annoyed. And I was about to pull the trigger, and you know, like the friend was able to speak to me and make me see that, you know, two wrongs don't make a right and stuff like that. So I think there's not one person in the world that I would kill myself to be in a room with and spend the day with. But I think it's just having these conversations with everybody from the janitor to the CEO to the president. I just came back. I just had lunch just now with Senator Kevin Parker.
Okay.
You know, and we just chopped it up, chilled out, and funny enough, we started the conversation in regards to the Brooklyn Bank, but what really resonated was like a conversation that we had on family. You know, and he said to me something to me very powerful, you know, and I'll share it with, you know, anybody out there.
I appreciate it.
He says, you know, a lot of dudes mess up because they're trying to raise children. You know, it's just like making sure the kid is right. It's like, nah, the real game is make sure the woman's right. Make sure the woman's right. Make sure she's taken care of. Make sure her needs are taken. Her back is rubbed. Make sure, you know what I'm saying, her like she has a good car to get around and this, that. She's gonna take care of the kid.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But you gotta make sure she's right. And
you gotta feed the source.
Exactly. So I took that and I thought about it on that scale, and then I also thought about it on like a project that I'm working on, because my head already went over there. So I'm just like, yo, you know what? I need to make sure that my super is right. You know, make sure that he has everything that he needs so that my tenants could be right.
Yeah.
You know? So it's just like these conversations that you have, you know, like it's not always the stuff that's on the agenda. It's these little gems that come in natural, casual conversation, and which I take it right back to these relationships. So I guess it'd be a good soundbite if I said that I wanted to meet Gandhi or Jay-Z or somebody like that. It'd make a great soundbite. But the truth of the matter is, there's wisdom in all of us.
No doubt. I want that authentic raw. I don't want the soundbite, and that's what I love that you brought. I love the raw.
Yeah. So there's wisdom in all of us. So it's just a matter of how well are we paying attention? How well are we listening?
I remember when Jay-Z, speaking of Jay-Z, he did a tour with, I want to say it was the Desert Storm tour, and they did a whole video about it, followed him around.
Hard Knock Life tour.
Hard Knock Life tour. And there was a scene in the video, the movie, whatever they called it, where Dame Dash was talking about making sure your entire crew can eat.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't make sure your entire crew can eat, you will die from the inside. And one of the things that stood out when I was looking on your Instagram page after the Black Money Forum was you with your team at the top of the steps and letting everybody know how much got done outside of Jude Bernard.
Yes, you know, I'd be a fraud if I tried to take the credit for everything. Like I said before, problems were fixed that I didn't even know were problems. And that's what you have to do. Like you have, like, it's all the relationships, it's all the team.
I love it. Good brother, we about to wrap. It's been a pleasure. This has been one of the most enjoyable and informative conversations that I've had outside of the Financial Power Hour or within. Do you have a particular book, a particular show, a particular podcast, anything that you would say to my audience to say, hey, if you want to take the next steps in real estate, financial literacy, Black wealth empowerment, here's what I would suggest you turn to. And even if it's not about Black wealth, like I referenced the 4 agreements earlier, just a book or some information that expands your mind.
You know, one of the best business books ever written, I believe, is The Alchemist.
Yes, love The Alchemist.
And a simple person might say, "What are you talking about, Jude? That's a fable. That's not a business book." Read it again. Read it.
Agreed. Well, good brother, you gave me more time than I was worthy of, and I appreciate it. I hope my audience, as I told you guys, yes, we had to pre-record this, but I'm here in the chat. I was here in the chat all day answering your questions. I'm sure that the jewels that were spilled out were too much for your cup. So if you have any questions, shoot them to me. And hopefully I'll get a chance to politic with Jude in the future. If any of the questions are directed at him, I'll see if I can shoot him some emails and get him and his team to answer. But brother, I appreciate you, man. I salute you for being on the Power Hour. And we just anything you want to say in closing?
Yo, follow me, follow the Brooklyn Bank. You know, if your heart feels like we're out there doing some good, if your heart is up to it, you know, go out there, make a donation to
give up that money, make a donation. Big Tank is making a donation.
You know, to brooklynbank.com. We are a 501c3 organization. You know, go to brooklynbank.com. Do what you can do. Greatly appreciate it.
We love it, man. We love you for joining us, man. Thank you, good brother. Take us away, my people.
Peace.